I'm going to ask you a few questions and just answer as honestly and candidly as you can. I don't care if it's good, bad, or ugly, you know. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of an e-commerce brand. Rather not say what I sell, but it's in the health industry. And I've been doing it in Shopify obviously since I was 20 years old. So I'm 26, gonna be 27 now, this year. And the biggest struggle that I had in the e-commerce space ever since I started learning about it was average order value. I knew that there was a way to be able to make more money without spending more money and do so efficiently. And AOV was a big deal for me, right? So, throughout the years of going to college, dropped out of college, started a business, failed, did a million times, typical story. But then when it finally clicked with this one product, it was time to optimize and get things ready and rock and rolling. And Shopify just didn't have the appropriate tools to be able to increase AOV or customize your checkout process unless you're paying for Shopify Premium, which is thousands of dollars. And even then, the upsell funnels are not modified. You have to go through apps, and there's certain policies that Shopify has. Long story short, I somehow landed on Checkout Champ. I'm not entirely sure what it was or how I did it. I don't know what I was doing, but it happened that way. And here I am, a year later, and I'm processing now roughly around $1 million a month with y'all.
And you mentioned in your email that your goal for this year is to scale to $2 million or more.
Yeah, I think I can do more than 2 million a month by the end of this year. I could probably hit the $3 to $4 million mark per month, probably by end of during quarter four this year. So I don't think it's too crazy. The craziest part would be if you guys can handle it.
We can absolutely handle it. We process tens of transactions a month, man. We're ready for you. Anything you can throw at us, we're ready.
Cool. Then say less. Yeah. I mean, I think it's possible. And I think I with the team that I put in place so far, I think I can do it.
Fantastic. So it sounds like some of the problems that you were trying to solve with your checkout with Checkout Champ were that they weren't customizable. They didn't have order bumps or one-click upsells native to the platform other than using third-party apps. Am I on track here with some of the issues?
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of split testing, and I did a lot of, one of the biggest selling points for me was the one-page checkout, which is fully customizable. There is a huge drop rate for the standard Shopify default checkout, which is a 3-step process, and people drop out significantly on step 2. The fact that you can capture everybody in one page is, it's worth the money alone. And then even then, the fact that you can do unlimited upsells and unlimited downsells. I mean, nobody leaves my website without buying something else, even if they don't know it. It's impossible because they go through a funnel that I've created that is just looks like the Holy Bible. I mean, it's crazy and it's so complex and it's so pretty. I made it all pretty and nice. And AOV went from $89 to $150. So I nearly doubled my AOV just by having like complex funnels. And a lot of them are subscription based, which for people that don't know, upon selling the business, that's 7 to 8x EBITDA that you can sell the business on just subscriptions. So right there and then, that could be big bucks for a lot of people.
You talk about the dropout rate on a multi-step checkout. Obviously, what do you see your mobile purchases coming in at? Is about 60-70% of your purchases on mobile?
If not more.
Do you see a higher drop-off rate on mobile with a multi-step checkout than you do on desktop?
Oh yeah. I would say that, well, my demographic is 65 plus. Mm-hmm. So their patience is even less than a normal person that in their 20s or 30s. So it was a significantly higher drop rate for me than it would have been for a regular customer. So it was that much more essential to make sure that I had a one-page checkout. There's nothing you can do in Shopify to get that, by the way. Like absolutely, there's not a single app. There's nothing at all. Zero. So Checkout Champ, I thought it was genius. When I saw it, I was like, too good to be true, but it wasn't. It's basically a different platform that seamlessly integrates with Shopify, but just nobody knows it on the front end. It's just all on the back end, right? I don't know. It was just genius. I could go about this forever.
Thank you. So when we talk about the native Shopify checkout versus Checkout Champ, what are some of the interesting things that you've done or that you've noticed versus our checkout versus Shopify, other than a multi-step, that you think really helped your conversions?
Easy to answer. GT Pay. So that was also revolutionary for me. So that's GT Pay, basically, for people that are watching, is a system that y'all have that automatically changes and switches merchant accounts. And that for me was pivotal, because I have 3 merchant accounts that I use currently live. And for the longest time, I mean, for years, I would just have somebody that I would pay an hourly rate to, at the same time every day, change the API keys and the transaction keys to switch my merchant accounts. Well, this is automatic, right? So and I have it on round robin. So every other transaction, it bounces merchant accounts. So that to me was also I had to stop paying somebody, that saved me money, and it's automatic. So there's a lot less room for error. There's pretty much no room for error.
And you're not using the transaction router to do anything nefarious. You're just spreading the risk across 3 different merchant accounts.
Correct. I spread the risk. Yeah, I'm spreading the risk just because I've learned very early in my career that the second you put your eggs in one basket is the second that you're risking your entire livelihood. So I don't do that anymore.
Fantastic. Well, we talked about some of your expectations with Checkout Champ on your store, that exceeding $2 million a month, potentially growing to $3 to $4 million a month in revenue. What have you seen in terms of an uptick in subscription conversion? Has that changed at all?
Yeah. Subscription based, I didn't have before Checkout Champ. So there's nothing that I can compare it to beforehand. But what I can say is that the fact that there's a few one-click upsell applications within Shopify, but just a few of them. And even then, the customizability of Checkout Champ, because I have subscriptions in 2 places. I have one on the checkout page. So once you're on my checkout screen, it says for another $5, you can add a monthly subscription that will give you this, this, and this. And if they add it automatically, that's to their cart. And I have it within the upsell for sequences. So I don't have any data to compare it to previously, but I can only assume that it would have been significantly worse if I would have, well, first of all, I would have never even had it. So there's nothing to compare it to begin with, actually. But I can capture those people in point A and point B. So they don't get it in the checkout step, they'll get it somewhere else.
Are you operating just one store right now, or do you have multiple stores?
No, just one store.
Just one store.
Yeah.
Do you think that the application would allow you to easily, as you pick up or build new brands, to add multiple stores into one Checkout Champ?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say it's a little bit of a learning curve with Checkout Champ. Not because it's hard, but because you guys have added so many features that it's a good problem to have. Like every single time that I talk to Packy and I'm like, I'm running through this issue, and he's like, oh, there's actually like a feature that does this automatically. And I'm like, oh, duh. Like I should have expected that kind of thing. But there's just too many features, which is a good problem to have, like I said. But yeah, I mean, once I'm going to sell this business, I've already talked to private equity about selling this in 3 years. It's a 3-year process to sell something this big. Once I sell it, obviously I'm never going to retire. Then you just recycle and do something else. And whatever I end up doing is obviously going to be in the e-commerce space, and whatever I'm going to be doing is going to be using Checkout Champ as well.
Fantastic. What do you think your biggest challenges were implementing Checkout Champ to your current process? Go back 12 months. What was the biggest challenge, do you think?
I would say the UX that you guys had back then was a little complicated. Let's put it this way. If I would have not had Packy or a member within Checkout Champ help me through the process of linking things, I would have never figured it out, because there were certain boxes that Packy was like, oh yeah, put that in there. But there was no direct instructions that you have to do that, right?
Do you think that the UI UX has changed drastically over the last 12 months?
Oh yeah, it is better, but I think it can be still better. I think there's a lot more room for improvement. Granted, I'm more of a techie guy, so I understand a lot of these complex buttons and features. But for somebody that may want to start right off the gate without any help, it could be a little bit intimidating.
Understood. So let's talk about, what are your thoughts on your Checkout Champ account manager and our support team?
Oh no, it's great. Packy, I've had a few issues with random stuff like, hey, we need to figure out how to get, the email sequences for shipping, mixed with shipping easy, and he just sends a ticket for me. He's like, I'm going to submit a ticket for you, and then 24 hours later, it's fixed. Besides that, I've never run into any problems. I think there was one little issue that happened last year where the servers were down for like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or something. And then it just was a seamless thing. I didn't even notice it. They were like, hey, this little part of the server didn't work for 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know, but okay. Besides that, I mean, nothing happened.
Would you recommend Checkout Champ to other e-commerce store owners?
I already have. I think I've probably brought to you guys maybe 3 or 4 other clients before. So yeah, I mean, that's whenever I do business consulting, which I do quite often, people say, what can I do better with my business? And I say, what's your AOV? And the second they tell me what their AOV, I tell them that they should increase it, and they should increase it by using Checkout Champ. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I don't get anything out of it. I just think it's just dumb not to.
Well, you should. We do have a really strong referral program.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even know.
You should get I'll have Packy get you the link so you can sign up, and any referrals you send over, you should get credit for.
Good. There, I didn't even know. Yeah, I do that out of the kindness of my heart, because I really do think it's a great product.
Fantastic. Do you have any other suggestions on how we can improve Checkout Champ for e-commerce store owners like yourself?
The answer right now is no, but I feel like if I were to really dwell on it, I could figure something out. But it's probably just like tiny, minute details that, you don't really look into unless you're at scale, right? Like once you get to like the 20, 30, 40K a day mark, then the little things matter, but there's nothing that I could think of right now. I mean, it's literally everything that you guys have is amazing. Seriously. So no, nothing right now.
Fantastic. Well, that concludes the interview. Fabio, I appreciate you volunteering to do this and sharing your experience in Checkout Champ. If there's anything else that we can do for you, you know how to get a hold of us. We appreciate
absolutely.
like you, and anything you need, just let us know.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.